Hello, good evening, and welcome to the QLTS School webinar on the Introduction to the Qualified Lawyers Transfer Scheme Assessments. My name is Mark Piano, and I am the Marketing Director for QLTS School, and tonight's webinar is going to introduce you to the Qualified Lawyers Transfer Scheme Assessments, stress the importance of taking a preparation course, and show you what QLTS School has to offer to ensure that wherever you are in the world, whatever your experience and time commitments, you are able to fully and properly prepare so that you can sit the QLTS assessments with confidence. First off, however, I want to extend, on behalf of all of us at QLTS School, our congratulations to those candidates who have recently sat the multiple choice test assessments, which were held a couple of weeks ago in January. It's the first pass of the the QLTS assessments, and they are now preparing to sit parts 2 and 3, which will be covered during the course of this presentation. On the QLTS School website, we will have embedded videos which show you on the QLTS School website, we have videos with successful candidates who have passed the QLTS assessment on the first attempt and are now enjoying the benefits of being qualified solicitors in England and Wales. So what is the QLTS? Well, it's an alternative route for internationally qualified lawyers to qualify as solicitors in England, and it's a dual qualification. It's administered by the governing regulatory body for solicitors in England and Wales, the Solicitors Regulation Authority, and it replaced the previous QLTT regime in 2010. Now, why would you want to become an English solicitor? Well, there's many advantages to being dual qualified. You can work as a solicitor in England and Wales and undertake those activities which are restricted to qualified solicitors. You can discover new career opportunities and apply for newly qualified positions in the UK. You'll have the skills and experience and techniques to enhance your professional profile, reputation and marketability in your home jurisdiction. You can become a truly trusted international legal advisor, able to advise on an area of law that constitutes a large and authoritative body of law for trade all around the world. Many contracts are governed by English law, and many countries in England, around the world recognise English law. You can gain a foothold in the EU market, win more business and increase your revenues. You don't have to be residing in the UK to enjoy the benefits of being an English solicitor. Many countries and jurisdictions throughout the world recognise the prestigious standing of an English solicitor and the benefits of qualification that come with it. Now, what are the QLTS assessments? Well, they come in 3 parts. The first part is a multiple choice test, which tests your outcomes A1 to A11 of what are known as the SRA's Day 1 outcomes. The SRA's Day 1 outcomes are the qualities and criteria which the SRA expects a newly qualified solicitor on their first day of the job to demonstrate and to meet. The multiple choice test is divided into 2 sessions, 3-hour periods of morning and afternoon sessions with 90 questions each, totaling 180 questions. This tests, in effect, the black letter law, which is your knowledge of the statutory, common law, and procedural requirements of the English legal system. Part 2 is the Objective Structured Clinical Examination, or the OSCE, which tests your practical skills in the form of interviewing and advocacy. And Part 3 is the Technical Legal Skills Test, which tests the skills of legal research, drafting, and writing. And the preparation and assessment for Parts 2 and 3 are very different to that for Part 1, which I shall go into shortly during this presentation. And Parts 2 and 3 will test the skills in the context of business law, civil and criminal litigation, and property and probate. Now, there's some rules governing the QLTS assessments that you really should be aware of. The MCT, which is Part 1, must be passed before Parts 2 and 3 are attempted. Parts 2 and 3 can then be taken in any order. And the rules allow 3 attempts at each of the 3 parts of the assessments during the 5-year validity of what is called your Certificate of Eligibility. And the exemptions to this rule can only be granted by the SRA, and only then in very limited circumstances. And the most important point is that you cannot use any materials during the assessments. You can't bring books in, you can't bring notes in, you can't bring any customized materials that you've created. You're given a calculator to use, but you cannot bring any other study or preparation materials into the assessment. Now, all the assessments are offered twice a year. Kaplan QLTS, who is the appointed course provider, publish the dates on their website. The last MCT was in January this year. The next MCT is set for July. We don't have an exact date yet, but of course, as soon as we do know, we will inform you. And the OSCE and TLST are going to be offered in various dates over April, and full details can be found on the Kaplan QLTS website. You must obtain a certificate of eligibility to sit the assessments. This allows the SRA to be satisfied that you come from a recognized legal jurisdiction, are suitably qualified from that recognized legal jurisdiction, and that you have a suitable level of proficiency in English in order to sit the QLTS assessments. Normally, an undergraduate degree in English or a certificate of proficiency by a recognized body will be sufficient proof. If you do have any questions on what will be acceptable, we do have a frequently asked questions page on our website at qlts.co.uk. And a list of qualified lawyers in recognized jurisdictions is on the SRA's website at www.sra.org.uk. So why do you need a QLTS course provider? Well, if you think back to when you were learning to drive a car, you had to sit an assessment. But before you sat the assessment, you took driving lessons. And you took driving lessons with an instructor, so you could be familiar with how a car works, the rules of the road, how to operate the gears, how to operate the wheel, how to maneuver the car and perform required tasks. But you also had a theory assessment, which you prepared for as well by studying books, the relevant rules of the road, and the other requirements that are needed for driving licenses to be granted in different countries across the world. So using that analogy, preparing for the Qualified Lawyers Transfer Scheme assessments requires a similar degree of preparation. In the same way that you wouldn't walk into a driving assessment centre and sit the theory and practical tests without preparation, likewise, it's a very bad idea to try and attempt the QLTS assessments without prior preparation. One reason for this is that Kaplan QLTS, who administer the assessments, are not authorized by the SRA to provide preparation courses for those assessments. The QLTS rules only allow for 3 attempts at each of the 3 parts of the QLTS during the 5-year validity of your certificate of eligibility. This means that once you've exhausted those 3 attempts, you have to wait 5 years until you can apply for another certificate of eligibility, and that can have a major setback on your legal career. And the MCT in particular is a standardized test. There's no specific or predetermined pass mark. It's not a case of below 50% you fail, above 50% you pass. A standard setting panel convened by the SRA sit the exam themselves, the same one you sit, and determine what is considered a pass and what is not. Therefore, it's not good enough to aim for a pass. You have to aim to excel and score a higher mark than all the other candidates who sat the test together with you. Now, you may be wondering what our results are. Now, according to Kaplan QLTS, for the MCT in July last year, the overall pass rate was 51%. And for those who took the QLTS school preparation course, the pass rate was a fantastic 72%. For those who didn't take the course, for those who turned up to the driving centre sitting the assessments without a test or preparation beforehand, it was 37%. So what does this mean? Well, it shows that taking the QLTS School MCT course dramatically improves your prospects of succeeding by a statistically significant amount, estimated at 49%. And as this graph shows, in graphic format, you have a significantly greater chance of passing the MCT assessments with the QLTS School course, compared to those who didn't take the course or who took courses with other providers. So what is the ultimate preparation course? How can QLTS School properly prepare you to sit these assessments? Well, we offer you a comprehensive, affordable and flexible preparation course. Wherever you are in the world, whatever your level of experience, and whatever your time commitments, QLTS School can work with you to make sure that you are fully and confidently prepared to sit the QLTS assessments. We have a retinue of tutors and administrative staff, all of whom attended the SRA seminar that was held on the QLTS in London in May 2011. Our staff are experts in their field, fully informed as to the SRA's requirements and how to teach the QLTS, and are able to work with you to ensure that everything you need to prepare for the assessment is covered. The QLTS course reflects the SRA's Day 1 outcomes and the examiner's requirements. We are constantly kept up to date by Kaplan and by the SRA as to any changes in the QLTS, any announcements, any news, any updates, and we ensure that the materials and our course as a whole are constantly tailored and updated to ensure that we stay abreast of any changes. You can be assured that QLTS School's materials and course is customized from the ground up to meet the QLTS requirements and are not adapted from existing LPC or GDL or LLM materials. We have been told by the SRA that a higher standard is expected of QLTS candidates because they are effectively sitting assessments which will allow them to go into the profession straight away as newly qualified solicitors once they are successful. And our QLTS training combines comprehensive and professional written textbooks, web-based programs, tutor support, and face-to-face revision sessions in London. By offering a multimedia preparation course across different formats, candidates are able to use the materials in a combined way to help them properly prepare in all possible ways to sit the assessments. But don't worry, if you're not resident in England, that is not a disadvantage, as will be demonstrated now. Now, why should you study with QLTS School? Well, we're focused. All we do is preparation for the QLTS assessments. We plan to continue to be the premier leader in this field for the long run, and that is evidenced by our commitment to the course, the dedication our tutors have to their work and to the candidates, and our success rates. We are experienced. The tutors, management staff, and administrative staff have extensive experience in the legal industry and with the QLTS in particular. And we will make sure that you get all the assistance that you need in order to attempt to qualify as English solicitors. We will ensure from the very moment you express an interest in the course, we will help you get your certificate of eligibility, answer any questions you may have, help you prepare for the logistics of sitting the assessments, and liaise with you afterwards to get full feedback so we can ensure that we continue to be the premier leader in provision of services for the Qualified Lawyers Transfer Scheme. And we're professional. We've heavily invested in our course material, written by legal experts and very experienced in each of their respective fields, and we act fast to adjust ourselves to changes. When there have been updates in the law or when there have been changes in legislation or procedure, we ensure that the textbooks are updated and that updates are circulated by email to all of our candidates and placed on the MCT portal. A good example of that was when, in October, the SRA released its new Code of Conduct. We are very quick to update our professional conduct textbook to ensure that you are using the latest materials reflecting the current law and procedure so that you are fully prepared for any material that would come up in the assessments. You get value for money. The course fees are very attractive compared to what is offered by other providers, and that will be shown as we go through this webinar. Our courses can be delivered anytime, anywhere in the world, and in any way that is most convenient to your firm and candidates. Using a combination of physical books, Skype or telephone conferencing with tutors, and an online portal accessible anywhere with a computer and internet connection, we ensure that anytime, anywhere you are able to properly study for the QLTS assessment in a way that suits your work circumstances and time. And finally, success. We are the only provider to have run courses for all 3 rounds of the QLTS assessments. From day one, we have been there when the QLTS was announced to help guide our candidates step by step as they prepare for the assessments. So the first module that we offer is the MCT course. And what you can see in front of you are pictures of the covers of the 11 textbooks that you will receive as part of the MCT course. You receive 11 textbooks covering all areas of practice, all of those day one outcomes we discussed before, the black letter law, the statutes, the primary and secondary legislation, the procedure, all of that which you need to know to prepare yourself for the MCT tests. You also receive the QLTS course handbook, which gives you details on the structure of the assessments, the timings, the marking criteria, the appeals procedure, everything you want to know about the QLTS assessments so that you are fully informed as to what is required and expected of you. You receive revision notes summarising the key points and main legal principles, and access to our online web portal containing over 1,000 multiple choice test questions and 15 mock exams that prepare you as close as can be to the actual MCT assessments that you will sit. You'll also receive free periodic updates with the course materials by way of updates to the books themselves, as well as addendum handouts. And the flexibility of the MCT course means that the physical books are delivered wherever you are in the world. You can access the MCT portal with an internet connection and a computer, and you can network with people in your area or online through LinkedIn and Facebook groups. And I'm now going to demonstrate to you the MCT portal. And you can see here, it covers each of the outcomes, from English legal systems down to business law. I'm going to click on the updates, and you can see on the right-hand side, PDF files that you can access, which are also emails, which cover updates in various areas of the law. But the main feature I want to show you are the MCT mock tests, because these will allow you to test your understanding of the law that you have been studying through textbooks. On the QLTS site, we have interviews with Charwan Lee and Jerome Dickinson, and they have both agreed that the MCT portal has been very important in allowing them to test their understanding of the material, work out where they need to improve or study up on, and it's an experience you just can't get by reading and remembering textbook material. So I'm going to click on MCT number 5, and once it loads, we'll be able to show you how versatile the system is. So what we have now is the MCT mock test module. There's 90 questions, and here on the right-hand side you can see a timer counting down from 3 hours. This therefore gives you, as close as can be replicated, a simulated MCT test environment. 90 questions in 3 hours. So you'll see the format of the question is a fact pattern, a question, STEM, which has to be answered, and then 5 multiple choice answers. This question is to do with administrative law. You can select one of the 5 answers, then you click submit. But you won't know the answer until you've finished the mock exam, just as it will be when you sit in the exam hall and commence the test. So as you go through, this is the question on accounts, you select an answer, move on to the next question, and so on until the end of the assessment, whereupon you will receive your feedback. You'll find out the right answer, why it's correct, and be able to see your score. Turning back to the presentation, we now turn to the OSCE and TLST courses. Now these are practical assessments. These are very different to the MCT. This is not a test of your theory. This is the test of your practical skills. A higher level of knowledge, and it tests your understanding and ability to advise clients in 3 areas of legal practice using a variety of skills. They are interviewing, advocacy, writing, drafting, and online legal research. And they're assessed through simulated legal environments using different techniques, such as actors to play clients, and professional legal databases and keyboard skills so that you can prepare a research note or a letter in a simulated environment. You need to be able to know and understand the relevant legal principles, which you have learnt during the MCT phase of the assessment, but more importantly for the purpose of these assessments, explain them to the client using accurate and timely advice, which documents to use, and also to draft various documents yourself when needed. These are the day-to-day skills that a qualified solicitor in England and Wales needs to be able to show they can perform adequately and to the required SRA standard. The course is designed to bridge the gap between your academic study from the MCT and your legal skills, which can only be gained through practicing experience. This cannot be emphasized enough. You cannot prepare for the OSCE and TLST simply by reading a book. You have to have a live practice, you have to have feedback, and you need to have the interaction with a live human being in order to develop the skills that you need to pass the assessment and identify which areas you need to hone to ensure that you meet the required standards. So what we offer is personalized preparation courses. When you want to take the OSCE and TLST, you will first have a telephone consultation with our senior tutor who will assess your experience, your needs, your strengths and weaknesses, and together craft a customized program which is designed for your needs and goals. We have experience of working with people from partners in law firms all the way to people who have never set foot in a law firm before, people who are working full-time, people who are working part-time, and people who have the luxury of full time to devote to their study. Whatever your situation, we have the experience to be able to work with you to identify the best way of preparing you for these unique assessment modules. Our expert tutors are all qualified solicitors and barristers, as well as senior university law lecturers and SRA external examiners on the legal practice course. They're experts in their field, very experienced, and have the confidence and knowledge to understand how best to prepare you for the assessments. So what do you get in the OSCE and TLST courses? Well, we offer a combined course. We don't offer separate modules for the separate assessments and charge you separate prices. We give you an initial interview with each candidate so we can ensure that you are receiving the right materials. You receive expert guidance and direct contact with our tutors, the QLTS course guide, and exam type practice questions and answer guides, so you can also identify yourself using the self-assessment guide how you're doing. You receive free periodic updates for the course materials, and most importantly, 5 mock exams in each of the 5 heads of the assessment, with one-to-one tutor feedback based on the SRA marking criteria. This is your chance to have a run at each of the assessments. The mock exams are conducted by Skype or by telephone or some other way that is suitable for the candidate and for the tutor. This way you can practice the skills you've developed, receive feedback, go away, prepare again and work on what you need to improve, and then try again and receive feedback. You get response to general academic inquiries, as well as networking opportunities with other examinees and online peer review during practice assessments. We highly encourage our candidates, in addition to the tutor support, to make contact with each other on LinkedIn or Facebook or in your local area and practice off each other, because in that way you can also get additional feedback from different people. And then you combine that with the expert advice from our tutors and you have a comprehensive and fully rounded preparation experience. So how much does it all cost? That's a key question. Well, there's several packages offered. The MCT course on its own is £790, but in addition, you can have 2 hours of tutor support for an extra £100. Now, I must stress that for people who have come from civil law jurisdictions and are not necessarily used to the common law system, the second option with tutor support could well be invaluable to help you save time and ensure that you're fully up to date and able to understand how the common law system works. It will serve you well, this investment, both in the MCT and the OSCE and TLST, as well as later into your professional legal career. In addition, the delivery charge for the physical textbooks is free within the UK, £40 to Europe, and £90 to other destinations in the world. The OSCE and TLST courses are combined at £1,350, plus the costs of the LPC textbooks, which are approximately £160. Now, in respect of the LPC textbooks, QLTS School has partnered up with Oxford University Press. We have found that their LPC textbooks contain the ideal format, exercises, principles, and skills that you can use to help develop the skills required to pass the OSCE and TLST examinations. They're suitable for the LPC. We have found they're suitable for the QLTS without the need to rewrite our own books from scratch. However, we did find with the multiple choice test that it was better that we wrote our own course materials. We also offer a discount to QLTS School students exclusive to QLTS School, so you can ensure that you receive high quality preparation materials at a reasonable price. So that concludes the webinar. If you do have any questions, please feel free to contact us by telephone or email, or log on to our website at qlts.co.uk. You'll also find the frequently asked questions section, which will hopefully answer most of your queries. But of course, we're always more than willing to assist any candidates, even before they've decided to sit the QLTS assessments. Thank you very much for your attention. Remember, the next MCT is in July this year. If you want to start preparing and are ready to go, log on to qlts.co.uk and sign up. Thank you very much for your time and your attention, and we look forward to hearing from you.